Interesting. Very interesting. So, talking, then I wasn't. Very interesting. Or I guess I was still babbling, but camera feed cut out. Don't know how that happened, but it happened. So, like I said, UFC 222 coming up soon. That'll be interesting. Frankie Edgar's going to be fighting Brian Ortega now, and that's because Max Holloway's hurt. I mean, just a very interesting fight. I'm a huge Frankie Edgar fan. He can compete with anybody in the division, but I'm a huge Brian Ortega fan. Every time I watch this guy fight, he brings it. He finds a way to win. I mean, I think it's going to be a good learning experience for Ortega. I think Frankie finds a way to take care of Ortega, but man, Ortega is unstoppable so far. So a really good fight. I mean, that's a really good matchup to save the day, considering from what it was that they lost over there with the Max Holloway Frankie Edgar fight to have to change out at least to get Brian Ortega. What a super interesting matchup. So that's our UFC review. Not too bad for me on the predictions. Not great, not bad, but it is what it is. So let's see. In the news, we have BuzzFeed asked the federal court to force the DNC to hand over evidence of a hack for the Trump DOJ lawsuit. So, like I said, BuzzFeed sued the DNC for not releasing evidence regarding the hack of its servers, allegedly by Russian nationals. Now, my stance on this has always been that it did not happen. The DNC never let anybody look at their computers. They refused to. When the FBI Comey were supposed to look at them, they refused to let them look at it. And if Comey was in on it, said, no, we need to look at this evidence. It's above you and your committee. We need to, but they've never looked at the computers. So these people are saying they were hacked, yet they never let anybody look at the computers. There's still to this day no proof that the actual DNC was hacked. We're not talking about elections. We're not talking about Russians trying to hack stuff. They do that all the time. But as far as the DNC, they're saying they're hacked. They got hacked. That's where those memos came from. I am a believer that it had to do with Seth Rich. That's my thoughts. I know his family doesn't like to hear that. I mean, he was killed, murdered. That didn't add up. The whole evidence of that didn't add up. And the evidence of this doesn't add up. Sorry, if they were really hacked, they would be more than willing to show it because it just proves their point. The fact that they wouldn't let anyone look at the computers, and now the government's saying, oh yeah, they were hacked based on what evidence? There's no evidence to say anybody got in that server. They haven't showed any evidence. So BuzzFeed actually has sued over this, and they're hoping to get some evidence. They sent demands to the CIA, FBI, also James Comey and James Clapper to answer a list of questions pertaining to this. And I'm sure that they'll, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully they win this lawsuit and can get this information because it would be important. Maybe we find out something else. Now, the big news of, I guess, the day is the Susan Rice email. She sent an email on January 20th, 2017, a little bit after noon. And it was an email to herself, pretty much the last second, the last records that would be recorded pretty much in the Obama administration. So she sent this email to herself. Basically, it was just weirdly worded. So she knew nobody from Obama's administration was really going to see this. She sent it right before they left, and they knew this would become a permanent record. So is it to cover Obama and say, no, he wants to do stuff by the book? Or was it a signal for something else that she just, doesn't want to be in trouble for this and should, put something down? It just draws a lot of attention. And you have Obama said that he never spoke to Comey about ongoing investigations. So Rice pretty much saying that he lied. right there. So not only that, but Rice said that Obama told Comey to withhold information from the Trump administration and report back to Obama. So again, it shows that Obama lied. And we know Comey's lied to Congress about it. So, is this Rice handing Obama and Comey to law enforcement? Just basically showing you the evidence? Or is it something else? I guess we won't find out till they get Rice in. Is Rice mad about something else? Wasn't she a friend of Michael Flynn? I don't know. There's just a lot of ways you can go with this, and we're not going to know until they interview Rice, but it's definitely now a huge, important part of this whole investigation. What does Rice know? What does Rice know, and when did she know it? And that's kind of like the question for a lot of people. What did this person know, and when did they know it? And we have the whole Porter scandal. Let's mess this up and not vet this guy properly. It's always a tough place. You have allegations. People said somebody did this, somebody did that. When you're working with somebody for a while and you hear something about them and somebody accused them of a crime, it's hard to believe. But still, it's the White House's job to do the due diligence and have this guy checked out in a proper fashion. Now, did they do it? We're not going to know how poorly this was handled, but it obviously wasn't handled well, and they've even come out and said themselves it was not handled well. And it's a black eye to the White House, sadly. But that being said, and I'm telling you, it's not good. It's amazing how many hypocrites there are, not only in the media, but how many Democrats come out and try to use this as a tool for themselves. Here are people, not only did they overlook their buddy Weinstein raping, sexually harassing, casting couching girls, but there are fellow senators who have admitted to slapping their wife, to giving their wife a black eye, and they not a word, right? Look at, for instance, Democrat Senator Tom Carper admitted to giving his wife, ex-wife now, a black eye. Where was the ask for his resignation? Have we even heard his name mentioned? Does it not count because it was after a certain amount of time? Sorry, here's a guy who admitted to abusing women and not a word. Just a shame. Back to the Obama portraits. I made the joke about Obama playing for the Cubs. The portrait just, I don't know. At least it looks like it was decently painted his. Michelle Obama's, the painting looks poor. And the lady who did it, we all know she's a racist. She painted many pictures with the black lady holding a white person's head decapitated, swinging it around. Is that art? I don't know. Maybe it's a sickness. But whatever the case may be, Of course, this week we confirmed many times over. We always knew before, but Keith Ellison, here's a guy who said he never met with Farrakhan. Now there's multiple evidence that he did. Not shocking. We have always known Keith Ellison is a liar. He's a race baiter. He's working for the other side. I'm not sure what else you can say about him. It's just, it is what it is. The guy's a fraud, and we all know it. Now, illustrating the national security threats caused by the nation's immigration system, the overwhelming majority of individuals convicted of terrorism are foreigners who enter the United States legally through various federal programs. That's it. 3 out of every 4 convicted terrorists between September 11, 2001 and December 31st, 2016 are foreign-born and came to the U.S. through our immigration system, according to a new report issued jointly by the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, and the DOJ, Department of Justice. At least 549 individuals were convicted of terrorism-related charges in American federal courts since 2001. 402 of them, approximately 73% were foreign-born, the report says. Now, obviously we have our own terrorists to deal with, homegrown, American-born. But obviously this shows you how we just need to do a better job of who's coming to this country and why. When you're talking about 402 people, and that's the ones that are charged, are actually not even charged, but convicted. How many of them don't count that either died or were never convicted, got off on a technicality? How many more were there? It's just unbelievable. It's just, we have to do a better job of checking everybody, seeing who's here, and even if somebody else who already lives here, we still have to do our due diligence. And it's a lot harder than you think. I know they always toss around the word and say, we're vetting. But how do you vet people from other countries, really? I mean, think about it. We're very organized here, as much as can be. You have databases. If you want to look up somebody, do searches on somebody, you can find out a lot. But in other countries, do you think they have that much in Pakistan where you could find out like who somebody is and what they've done and where they've worked for the past 20 years and if they have a criminal history, or things, if somebody's coming from Malvidas, can we find this stuff out? I mean, I'm sure it's not very reliable, and that's a caution we have to take, something we have to watch out for, Unfortunately, that's the world today. Now we have, Carter Page, right? That's the big one, the big Russian spy, they say, that worked for Obama's campaign. That's how they got the renewals of the FISA warrants. Most people don't even know that Carter Page actually worked for the FBI as an employee to actually spy on Russia. He busted Russian agents in 2013. He, basically worked till May of 2016. So now all of a sudden, a few months under a warrant. Now, even though he just helped him arrest somebody who was a Russian agent and went to trial, and it just ended a few months before. Strange, right? I don't know. And with that, it's all full circle, You have former Obama State Department official Jonathan Weiner had admitted to feeding anti-Trump info to Clinton's friends and ally, Sidney Blumenthal. Weiner publicly confirmed that Clinton operatives were aware of the dossier. He, basically proved once again Clinton's a liar. And, all these people, it's just one big circle. Judicial Watch, they're doing hell of a work. They uncovered emails showing that Andrew Weissman, who's Mueller's top deputy, is anti-Trumper, and he was one of these people that supported the lawless deep state obstruction of President Trump and the rule of law. Everybody and all these people are going away that were in the Mueller investigation. They all had either access to grind or other things that they wanted. It's really simple. It's at the point now where show what you have, Mueller. Where's the indictment? Where's the conviction? You really have nothing. You have a charge of Manafort that was for, money laundering, pretty much business money laundering, 10 years before he worked for Trump. I don't even know if that's going to hold up in court. And then you have the Flynn, which they've already postponed. That's done. If Flynn has any brains, he's totally going to get out of there, because, as you know, when Flynn first pled guilty, what happened was the guy was tired of fighting. He was running out of money, hiring lawyers to fight this because nobody's paying for his legal bills. And he just said, I'll plead guilty to this. Let's just get over with it. You say I lied, whatever. And then they took the judge off the case that accepted his plea, because they found out that not only Comey said he wasn't lying, but other people who interviewed him said that Michael Flynn was telling the truth. Now, with that being said, if he knew that information, would he have pled guilty? Would he have just said against him? So basically, he got suckered, Flynn got bluffed, and he lost the bluff. And, at the end of the day, it just, obviously, he's not as intelligent as everybody thought he was, Michael Flynn. But still, if the guy didn't do anything wrong, he shouldn't be charged, and he shouldn't have to deal with this. And unfortunately, that's a lot of problem with the justice system. If you don't have the money to fight, sometimes you get worn down and you just start accepting guilt for things that, not that you did, but just because you don't have the money to fight it and you don't want to put your, what do you do, put that burden on your family? I understand that problem. So it is what it is. And now with the people that are falling off the Mueller investigation, like they always say, like Strzok, whatever his name was, he went after Hillary too. Remember when they reopened the investigation and he said something negative about Hillary? Yeah, that's true. But the simple thing that I'll tie together for you that most people aren't getting is the reason why Strzok was mad and insulted Hillary, and the reason why he opened the investigation right before the election, wasn't to damage Hillary. It was because they got caught. They got caught with their pants down. And severely, I might add. See, these people, they had done the fake investigation, which was no investigation. They knew Hillary was going to be cleared before anything happened. And they were going with that and just sweep it all under the rug. And then what happened is the Anthony Weiner laptop showed up. And now there's a new treasure trove of classified emails that were on that computer. And Hillary broke the law again, because those things weren't supposed to be sent to Huma, and then Huma had them, and she sent them to that laptop. So they had no choice but to reopen the investigation, because if they kept it closed and somebody else got to take that evidence in, it was over. Hillary was done. So they opened up the investigation. That's why Strzok insulted her. They grabbed that evidence. They held on to it and tried to hold on to it after the election and weren't honest about it and tried to stall, delay, right? And then they said, oh, nothing to see here. Nope. Even though Hillary committed this crime, that crime, this crime, no court in their right mind would find her guilty. She's innocent. And that's where Comey came on with the July 5th, the absolute trash, garbage, ridiculous. I'm sorry, but we just want fair justice. And not even that. I mean, like, if anybody did a quarter of that stuff, they'd be arrested. Hillary Clinton is nothing but a criminal. Anybody with an open mind and open eyes knows that. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter whether you like her politics or not. She is a criminal. It's as simple as that. You can say this and that. Classified emails. She had an illegal server. Obama knew it. He's guilty as well. And she had classified emails on that, and she was, I'm the one who didn't. And you could tell by when they don't answer questions, when they try to defer everything, they're guilty. Because if you honestly were innocent, you honestly didn't know any better, you'd be able to, I didn't know, or this and that. No, it's, wipe the server? You mean with a rag? Yeah, when you start with the snotty stuff, or what difference does it make? It's because you're guilty. I'm sorry if you'd answer the questions way better and way more intelligently, but when you're trying to lie, you have to think of it. When you're living the truth, you know it. When you're lying, you have to think about what it is you're going to say, because you're not sure, because you got to make it up, and then you're trying to remember in your head, what did I say last time? Because what I make up now has got to match what I made up before. Otherwise, I won't have any idea what I'm talking about, So that being said, that's just simplifying why the investigation was reopened, because a lot of people aren't getting it. I don't know why, but they aren't. Now, so like I said, Anthony Weiner's laptops. Now, here's a weird one. We haven't heard too much about the what's that, Iran Awan guy, the IT guy who had those laptops and was stealing equipment and reselling it. So, enemy of the government, he was stealing computer equipment from senators and whatnot and selling it. Hundreds of thousands of dollars worth. He had secrets hidden away, like confidential classified stuff. Another guy should go to jail. So this Awan guy, Debbie Wasserwoman Schultz, her IT guy, she kept him up till the last minute. He been out of the news for a while. But interesting enough, if you look at, they're charging him with like some minor fraud charges, which the guy should be going to jail for multiple felonies. But Bill and Hillary Clinton's personal attorney is defending this guy. Why would that be? Why would that be? Very interesting. Very interesting. And then we had I've seen some sign, at some stop sign, turn right, even for dumb comedians like Jimmy Schimmel, Jimmy Schimmel, the night guy. Here's a guy who puts himself into politics because he wants to babble about them. Before when he was doing comical stuff, he was funny. But now he wants to get himself in politics. And he wants to just lie or spew whatever garbage he wants to. So Schimmel over there has been challenged to many debates. And not a word from him. Because he doesn't want to debate anybody. It's kind of like Al Gore on global warming. When it comes time to debate somebody in person, this guy's nowhere to be found. He can babble when there's nobody there to hold him back. But when it's a debate where somebody else is going to be there, nothing. I mean, you ever notice, like, just to go out of this Jimmy Schimmel thing there, on global warming, they never have debates. How come there's no debates? How come there's no debates? Oh, because it's settled science, I forgot. Okay, well, if it's settled science, then have a debate, because the debate would be settled pretty quick. So here's Jimmy Kimmel, the coward, the spewer of hate. So he got challenged to debate by Ben Shapiro. So they've raised, we've taken a little money raising there to the tune of $500,000 for Jimmy Kimmel's charity or for sick kids, whatever he wants, to debate Ben Shapiro. And where's Jimmy Kimmel? Where to be found, mouth closed, still spewing his stuff unchallenged on his show, but he won't either go on Ben Shapiro's show or let Ben Shapiro on his show to debate the facts. It's pretty pathetic. You think, I don't know, to me, I love to talk about what I know is right. It's really easy because I know it's right. And if by chance someone were to out-debate me and show why I was wrong, at least it'd give me something to think about. But not here when you're so open-minded that you won't listen to anybody else. Came out in the past week that America, that's us, we gave spies $100,000 to get material on Donald Trump. I mean, how much money can between the DNC and the taxpayers pay? We're in fishing expeditions. We're just wasting our time, our money, oh my gosh. And so they had this talk of this week about the military parade, right? Trump wanted a military parade. I'm not really a big fan of that. I think, I have no problem respecting our soldiers. They have their day. We can give them another day. I'm all down with that. Give them more pay. I'm down with that. Give them better medical treatment, especially soldiers that have fought, that have come back. Thank them for their service. Give them better medical pay. I'm all for that. Help them find jobs. Make them a first priority. I'm all good with that. I think it's better than a parade if the government would help out with those stuff. But it's so weird. Like the Obama supporters didn't want to have a military parade with a flyover. They don't want that. But Obama had a flyover. Remember? He had a military flyover right over the World Trade Center, right? With his plane, scaring the bejesus out of people. Yeah, Obama likes flyovers, I guess. Now, the other day, I'm in line at the store, and I look over, and I've noticed, it's been probably the past, 5 to 6 years, but it's even worse now. Kind of, those magazines used to have half-naked people, or we started this, every other week, it's a story of Kirstie Alley weighs 500 pounds, and we have her picture in her bikini. No thanks. But it's really getting sad these days with the National Enquirer, because they're doing a better job of reporting the truth than half of these news agencies. Like the other day, for instance, they had one, an explosive Enquirer investigation proves Obama and Hillary ordered the FBI to spy on Trump. Illegal wiretaps on Trump, secret papers they had leaked to sabotage Trump's presidency. It's worse than Watergate. Now, funny, people might take that as a joke, but in reality, the National Enquirer is more on the spot than most of the U.S. papers, and definitely more than that, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and all that stuff. Right there, the Enquirer is definitely on, on it. Now, I was listening the other day in the car, and I heard a Arizona representative, Paul Gosar, and he was on an interview. He's a leading, conservative member of the Oversight Government Reform Committee, and he believes that, the Barack Obama scandals and the latest revelations about the corruption of the Department of Justice and the FBI, he says if you don't think the Operation Fast and Furious attacking the Second Amendment, along with Operation Choker Point, that sacred amendment that holds our government accountable and protection for all our other amendments, if you don't think Benghazi and the lack of accountability when they knew something was going to come, if you don't think the IRS and the attacking of your adversaries financially and the unmasking are unrelated things, think again. And I'll definitely agree with Gosar on that. We know big time that these were, all frauds perpetrated on America, especially the guy who said he had not a smidgen of corruption. I mean, just the IRS alone. I mean, a lot of people should have been arrested for that. You use the IRS to threaten your opponents. And here it is again, threatening Donald Trump. But, there's, they micromanaged everything in the White House. Obama told you he was the smartest guy there was. So, the Syrian strikes, they were handpicked and dictated by the president all the time. The guy was involved in everything. And then you look at the cover-up with the email scandal with Hillary, and the weaponizing of the Justice Department. I mean, just the cover-ups, and all of a sudden it's, I didn't know until I saw it on the news, or, he didn't know anything. Oh my God, Hillary was emailing. I mean, come on, you saw where the emails were coming from. I mean, the guy had a fake name. Obama had a fake, name to email with her. He knows where the emails are coming from. You can tell the difference between the .org, .gov, and the .org. So, it's all fraud. The smartest guy in the world just didn't know anything until it's covered on the news. Yeah, nobody's buying that in their right mind. Sorry, but now, what's this? Kamala Harris piping up this week. I don't know what she was babbling about, but with Kamala Harris, she spent more time with other people's husbands than Pelosi did talking when she stood up for those 8 hours the other week. So Kamala Harris is just a scum of a life cheater who shouldn't leave California unless it's in handcuffs. Sorry, but we know the truth about her. Then we had this week, of course, everything's almost revolving around the dossier, sadly enough, in today's politics. Anything good you don't really hear much about because we got to talk about this. Democrat Senator Mark Warren texted with Russian oligarch lobbyists in an effort to contact Christopher Steele. Yeah. It's, it's just, I don't know. It's a silly world we live in when this is almost all we have to talk about, but it is because you either constantly have to set people straight or defend the things, and I don't know. It is what it is, but let's see here. Donald Trump's good stuff has just been taken away. I mean, you think about how many times they've actually shot down Russian planes or hit Russian ships. You don't even hear about it on the news. They've killed a bunch of Russian soldiers in Syria. And nobody says a word on that. Why? Oh, because it doesn't fit in with the narrative of collusion. But, Trump's sitting there doing his job. He does make mistakes, say things wrong at times. But in general, he's, done his job. The feds ran a surplus for the first month of the tax cut. So that shot down all that stuff. Small business owners saying it's a good time to expand. Home prices are hitting highs. Trump's popularity on the upswing, even with the constant destruction from the media, right? What else we have? We had a big in Israel. The cops push Netanyahu. They want to indict him on corruption and bribery, and now he's fighting back against them. It's going to end up in a mess. I think it's pretty much going to end up where he's going to have to step down. I don't know what's true or not about that. All just seems like a bunch of criminal activity over there, and Israel's a place where we can cut off aid too. We just, they're a good ally, a good friend. We can share stuff with them, but as far as giving them any money, we shouldn't. They should be living on their own. Sorry. We should not be the nipple of society. We should not. All these other countries, they need to support themselves. They need to take care of their own business. We shouldn't have to deal with their problems. It's just we are not. Our taxpayer money should be for us, to help us, to support our kids. Not all this. I don't know. It's just crazy. So let's see. What did a judge ordered a graffiti artist $6.7 million for destroyed work? Federal judge in Brooklyn. Man, $6.7 million to graffiti artists whose works at the 5 Points complex in Long Island City were destroyed in 2013. 21 graffiti artists sued the owner of 5 Points for painting over dozens of murals that were on the complex. So they said that the owner violated the Visual Artists' Rights Act, which protects public art created on another person's property. A 3-week trial began in November, and the civil jury found that the guy's name was Jerry Wolkoff, broke the law in destroying the artworks. I don't even understand. So we're supposed to know that artists have rights that paint on your building. And don't. So can I paint your car? And then I'm going to paint the stick figure on your car. And then if you try to come after me, or better yet, if you paint over my stick figure, then I can sue you. That kind of makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. And just, if we can do away with lawyers, man, we could do away with half the judges, and we just have a better world. I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes it's pretty sad when you have to talk about this stuff. But what else can we say? I don't know. Sometimes it just makes you mad, right? What else can you say about it? But we have to move on. I don't know. Let's see what else is going to be up for this week. Yeah. I don't know. Jimmy Schimmel, the guy who won't debate, he smashed his car. So that's, I guess, what the reference of the right turn only sign had to do with. But, Jimmy Schimmel said everybody else is too stupid to be a talk show host. What do we know, right? What we do know is Obama knew, Hillary knew, Huma knew, Weiner knew, Lynch knew, Comey knew, Brennan knew, Yates knew, Bryce knew. I'm sure Joe Biden knew too. They're all part of sedition and a rebellion against the government, right? That's exactly what Obama and the crew did. They had speech and they promoted discontent and rebellion, rebellious disorder. That's pretty much sedition in a nutshell. But that is what Obama and his friends did to this country. Let's see, they released Las Vegas, of course. We mentioned that from time to time. Still no answers into what happened in the Las Vegas mass shooting. They're supposed to release all the body cam footage from that. They released the autopsy that said he had no mental disease, no other drugs there. So, there's still just, I don't know, nothing. Nothing really that, nothing new. I mean, they're saying we're going to have to wait till October, a year later, to find out what the deal was with Las Vegas, but I'm sure they know. They're not telling us. I'm sorry to say, but we know. We know. We know there was some help there. They, they made the guy in Mesa get rid of all his ammunition because he sold modified ammunition. So, I know that guy asked for an extension to make sure the ammunition he was getting rid of actually ended up in the right hands. There's way more to this, though, than meets the eyes. I mean, you just see none of it adds up. None of it adds up. In the Vegas, just in the Vegas thing, none of it adds up. I don't know. What's this Adam Rippon? I mean, we got the Olympics now. We can't even talk about it. Like, all we see is a chick from North Korea that the media loves. MSNBC, CNN, they love this chick. Kim Jong-Fadun's whatever sister. I mean, she throws people into death chambers pretty much. She's in charge of, if you talk back about the government, she's the one that's in charge of scheduling your reassessment or reprogramming. And yet they make it out like she's the charm of the Olympics. I mean, and then you got all these athletes just mouthing off, just like the football players. Didn't sports listen? I love sports, but I don't care less about your opinion on politics, to be honest. Yes, you do have freedom of speech, but so do I. So if I have to hear you babble about that when I'm there for your sports, I just won't watch it because it's not sports. When I want political stuff, I do political stuff. But when I go to take a break from that to watch sports, I don't want to hear you babbling about this stuff. It just makes no sense. It's silly. And then you got people who just, the figure skater Adam Rippon, just constantly talking about, Mike Pence. Mike Pence this, and I don't want to make it political. Mike Pence this and Mike Pence that. It's like, who cares? Just say, I'm not going to the White House. Nobody asked you. Who cares? Shut up. Don't go to the White House then. Why do we need to hear about it? Why do I care? I couldn't care less if no team went to the White House personally. I don't even know why they go to the White House. I don't know why they're invited to the White House. Who cares? Who could care less? I mean, seriously, stop talking about it. I care about it. That's it. What I care is to not hear about it. You want to go, go. If you don't, you don't. I don't know. I would think it'd be an honor, even if I won the World Series and Obama was in the White House and invited me, I'd go. I'd shut my mouth and go. I'm not saying I agree with them on anything. Who cares? I'm going to the White House. It's the people's house. I'm going there. But if I didn't want to go for whatever reason, then I don't go. I don't need to interview. I mean, that's it. All these people want is attention. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You know, you got like the fools, like, what's the guy's name? What is it? I'm going to say the wrong name. I have to look this up because I want to say, oh man, I want to say something else. Basketball player. Let's see, am I going to mess this up? I'm going to mess this up. Let's see. No, yeah. I want to say it's Ruben. It's not Ruben Patterson. That was the dude that got arrested from Seattle. Let's see. Was that 49? They were dumb to pick this guy. God, what was his name? He was in trouble in college. Yeah, Reuben Foster. Reuben Foster. Here's a guy who some of the most talent coming out of college easily would have been a top few pick. Guy kneeling. Here's a guy who's kneeling, can't stand up for the national anthem, who got in an argument at the combines, who failed a drug test at the combines, who had gotten in trouble. And here he is again, arrested. I mean, possession of marijuana. And then didn't he? I think he got in trouble for more too. But I mean, you can't make this stuff up. Here's a guy who kneels for the anthem. He can't stand up. Is that your protest? Okay, that's fine. Why don't you live a decent life then and show you're an activist? When here you're getting arrested for like the umpteenth time, it just shows you're a fool. You're not an activist, you're just a fool. You probably don't even know why you're kneeling down for the national anthem. You probably don't know what's going on. You heard it from a friend or something. Another fool who gets arrested. And just, seriously, you can't stand this good protester and activist and you're fighting for the rights of what you don't even know. And then you get arrested again. Doing drugs, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. It's just ridiculous. But what else is new here? I don't know. Another week in the books here. Let's see. What do we have coming up? It's Valentine's Day tomorrow, so hopefully everybody's prepared with presents for their loved ones. Hopefully nobody gets in trouble. Hopefully everybody's been creative. Hopefully everybody's been nice and deserves presents. So you got my cookies, early present, yummy. And I don't know. I just hope everybody has a great Valentine's Day, safe. We'll have another safe week. And, I will see you guys next week. Have a great one. And thanks for tuning in.